Hi, it's Griggs with Obsidian Wisdom. Today we answer the question, what retirement accounts should I have? There are so many retirement accounts that it would take a while to list them all, and they each do something a little bit different. Some worry about risk, some are focused on longevity, some are focused on making sure you don't lose your money in the stock market, while others are designed to make sure you pay the fewest amount in taxes each year. It is very difficult when you're designing your own retirement plan for someone to just be able to say, okay, I think everybody should have this account and go from there. It really does depend a lot on your goals and some even your health factors when you really get down to it. There's so many things that you want to plan for. Oftentimes we look at the 5 most common risks to retirement, and then you usually will put something in your plan that helps you with each of those. The most common risk is living too long or dying too soon. We deal with the dying too soon aspect of things by having life insurance policies. So that way our spouse or our children or whoever we care about is able to continue on without us. The most overlooked aspect in a financial plan is your future earning power. How much money you're going to be able to generate over your lifetime. I forget the numbers exactly, but it's usually around like $3-4 million is what someone on average will make with a bachelor's degree over their lifetime. It's about $2.5 million is what someone will make over their lifetime if they have a high school diploma. You're going to generate millions of dollars. There's going to be millions of dollars coming in and out of your hands each year over your life. What are you doing with that money? Where are you putting it? I often tell people the first place that I like to look at is let's make sure that I'm not paying Uncle Sam too much in taxes in retirement. He's going to tax your Social Security. He's going to tax your 401ks and your other pre-retirement assets. And he's going to tax your capital gains and your investments and your normal stocks and even your land and your business and different things. He's going to be taxing all of these things. So I often tell people the first place I start when it comes to my retirement account is, do I have tax-free money coming in the form of a Roth IRA? If you have a Roth IRA, then you already know that that is money that you pay taxes on today, and you're not going to pay anything in taxes when you take the money out in retirement, as long as you're over than 59 and a half, right? Each of us retires at a different point in our life, but the overall thought is, as long as this person is using this money for retirement, Uncle Sam's like, I'm going to tax you the one time when you put the money in, and then after that, I'm going to leave you alone as long as I don't feel you're trying to get one over on me. I don't feel like you're trying to take advantage of my kindness, as Uncle Sam would probably say. And so as long as Uncle Sam believes that you're putting the money away for retirement, he's cool with that. Now, if he thinks you're just trying to duck some money for a couple years of tax avoidance and to grow some money tax-free on the side, Uncle Sam will say, look, if you get access this money before 59 and a half, you're going to have some problems. Now, granted, you and I, we may put a plan together that allows you to retire in your 30s or 40s, but that wouldn't be the money that we access then anyways. Now, I do have a video where I talk about the overall withdrawal strategies, and the good news is you often take the Roth last. That money's growing tax-free. It doesn't have any required minimum distribution, so I feel like that's a great place to leave your money. That's the last place you usually access it. If you can live only on the tax-free money at the end, that is just a great way to enjoy life, where Uncle Sam can't mess with you and you're just enjoying yourself and having a great time. Once you have your tax-free money set up, I think the next place to look is free money. Where do you get free money? Well, normally it's going to be your 401ks where you get matches. You're going to find free money usually from your employer. Any type of a match that they have, 401k, 403b, different accounts, anytime you can get free money, go ahead and take advantage of that. If you put in 5% and they match 5%, go for it. If you have it where you put in 3%, they match 3%, do that. Go for it. Now, some of your employers will have what is called a safe harbor plan. And what that means is you put in 3% and your employer matches 3%. But your employer may only match 0.5% for an additional like 1%. So they'll put a total of 4% of a match in there, but you have to put 5% in. So you put the extra 2% in, and then they match half of that and give you the 1%. And that is something that you see that's a little bit more common nowadays. But whatever the match is, I usually tell people that is a great place to start. More times than not, when you're saving for retirement, you want to be around 10 to 20% of your salary anyways. And if you take a step back and think about it, I'm going to be living off of money that is going to maintain my current lifestyle. And at least it's going to be very close percentage-wise. that means that I need to put more than 2, 3, 5% away, that I really should be putting 10, 20, 30. And as you get out of debt and your kids leave home and different things happen, where you can really maximize it, where you can put extra money in. Now, I do want to caution you because a lot of times people just aren't sure where to put their money. So I meet people and they're like, you know what, Dre, I put all of my money in my 401k. So now I'm at like 20% of my salary goes to my 401k. Now that can work. I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, most of the time, as long as you're investing the money and you're not investing in penny stocks or like crypto and trying to find the next big thing, you're probably going to make money over the long term. Long-term investing is going to be the easiest game in town. It's very difficult when you're trying to figure out, how do I make money day trading? Or I'm making picks today and then I'm hoping they pay off tomorrow. That is a very difficult thing to do. But if you're just picking solid companies that are going to be here, that have been here, that are in our top 50, we call them blue chips, or your Fortune 100 companies, these safe companies where the majority of your money grows with these companies, it is very likely that when you retire, you're going to have the money that you're looking for. I know a lot of people who just invest in blue chip companies and they're doing just fine because they have a long-term strategy. With that said, there are higher fees oftentimes inside of your 401ks and your 403bs. So if you have the ability to purchase the stock outside of your 401k where you're not paying the same fees, I would say the next thing to look at is an IRA. Open your own individual retirement account. Then you have the ability to customize the account a little bit more. And it's a little bit restrictive in most of your 401ks where they usually have to give you a safe option, a moderate option, and an aggressive option. And there's not a whole lot of flexibility when it comes to choosing the stocks. So if you have your own IRA, then you're able to put the money inside of there. Same pre-tax benefit, which means you're not paying taxes on the money that you put in there, and you'll pay taxes as ordinary income when you retire. You still have that same benefit. You have a lot more flexibility. And the other additional benefit is on average, we have about 12, 13 jobs in our lifetime. That's what the U.S. Department of Labor says. And if you have 12 or 13 different 401ks out there, then they're very difficult for you to keep track of everything. But if you have your IRA to the side, then as you change employers, you can move that 401k into your IRA account. And then you can have the customization, the lower fees, and then you're able to maximize the way your money's working. You often will hear me say, let's try to be efficient. I'm not a stickler where you have to do it by the book, and I have lots of books and I can show you what the financial planning books say is the ABC way to do things. I do think that if possible, if it's not too much of a burden, if it's not difficult to make the changes, then I think we should make the changes that give you the best outcome, the most efficient outcome. If it is something where it's close to your heart, it's very important to you, you'll find that these amounts aren't, like the biggest deal, but I will encourage you just to keep track of it. But if you're to pay a 0.5% fee over 30 years, that number becomes a large amount. And so it becomes something that you want to be cognizant of. It's not to say, well, that number doesn't really matter, the fee here and there. The number really will add up over time. The next type of retirement account that I would want to have is I need to have some money that is considered after tax, or money that I invest that has already been taxed today, so that way I can minimize my taxes in retirement. You don't want to be paying a lot of taxes in retirement. And the truth is we don't want to pay a lot of taxes any day, but you really don't want to pay a lot of taxes in retirement when you don't have the same flexibility where you can maybe work a little bit longer, you can pick up this side job or do these different things to bring in more money. In retirement, you really want to focus on the lifestyle and the joy. What a lot of people overlook is back in the day in the 1980s when Uncle Sam first created these pre-tax accounts, the idea was, all right, well, we're taxing 70, 80% of someone's income, even upwards of 90% of someone's income. So if I was to retire today, my tax bill would be huge. In the brackets, there were so many tax brackets that just putting away 10% of your salary could lower you 2 or 3 tax brackets today. And then the idea is when I retire, I'm going to have less money. And as I'm having a lower income, I'm going to save so much money on taxes. The problem in today's environment is twofold. One is, historically, we're at some of the lowest taxes that we've ever had. And you have to keep that in mind. Are you deferring taxes today to possibly pay taxes higher in the future? Because that is something that you have to consider. The second reason, and the second thing you want to consider is there are not that many brackets today. It takes a lot more money to shift from one bracket to the next bracket. In fact, in 2023, you would be taxed 10% if you don't make over $22,000. If you make over $22,000 but under $90,000, you'll be taxed at 12%. Keep that in mind now. That is a $70,000 difference in that bracket. the chance of you being able to save that much of your income to shift brackets is pretty difficult. The next bracket is then $89,450, but not more than $190,750. That will put you in the 22% tax bracket. Again, that is about $100,000 that you would have to have lowered your earned income by to be able to receive that tax break. And then the next number is 190 to 350, from 350 to 460, 460 to 690, and then everything over 690 is taxed at the maximum amount of 37%. So you can see that you have to be able to reduce your earned income by a significant amount. Now, if you're very close to the bracket where you're like, look, Dre, all I got to do is put an extra 2% of my salary away and I'm going to lower a tax bracket and receive that tax savings, I would say, great, that's fantastic, go for it. But if you're in the middle of a bracket where you have to lower your earned income by $50,000 when you can only put $20,000 or so in your 401k, it becomes very difficult. And if you're going to be lowering it because you're trying to save the money on the taxes, but then you find out that, I don't know, someone becomes president or something changes in our economy where we have to raise taxes from historically low, mind you, historically low taxes to not so historically low taxes, then you'll be like, well, dang, Dre, I could have paid taxes at 22% in 2023, and I waited until 2053, and now taxes are much higher. I'm not trying to scare you, but I am trying to impress upon you that if you're just doing what we've always been told, which is put your money in the pre-tax and the 401k, that's going to lower your income today, and then you'll pay a lower tax rate in the future when you retire, you really have to look at the numbers and decide, is that true for me? Some people are going to say, look, Dre, I'm paying the highest tax rate per year every year. It doesn't matter if it's this year or in the future. I make millions of dollars every year. Fantastic. Good for you. No problem at all. In that case, you can't put enough money away to lower your tax bracket. So that's not going to be your number one concern of using a 401k anyways. You can maximize a 401k and still be in the top tax bracket today and still be in the top tax bracket tomorrow. More times than not, whenever we're talking about tax savings, they usually carve out the top 5% of people, top 1% of people. So their taxes usually don't change. Now, sometimes they will change it in the sense that they end up charging you more, but it's very rare that your taxes will go down in the top 1%. Now, sometimes if you're in that top 1%, it makes sense for you to invest your money in other things that Uncle Sam does give you the benefit of the doubt of, where he will give you the tax savings. And that's usually a business. He's very friendly in taxing businesses. Often you have employees and different things where you're able to write many things off when you have a business. Real estate is another great one. You probably noticed and you probably heard in this last cycle where all these houses were going, 20, 30, 40, 50% over asking price, and the people were paying cash. That was a tax saving strategy that I'm sure someone's CPA recommended for them, to where they were like, look, man, if we're worried about the taxes, then let's go ahead and buy some real estate, buy it with cash, lower your earned income, and then we'll receive the savings from the real estate, the savings from the businesses, and you work the system that way, which is what it's designed for. Uncle Sam is incentivizing you to do things that he wants you to do. He wants you to buy real estate. He wants you to pay employees. And then he's discouraging things he doesn't want you to do. He doesn't want you just to sit on your money and to leave it in your bank account. That's just the way Uncle Sam is, and it's neither here nor there. It's more important for us to understand what he's doing and then make the best plan off of that than it is to be upset at the circumstances where he shouldn't say this and Uncle Sam shouldn't force me to do that. I don't really care, and neither should you. The goal in all of financial planning and all of life planning is to understand the system, what does it take to win, and then decide if that philosophy is aligned with me. You don't win by any means, because again, what good is it to gain the whole world if you lose your soul? But if it is as simple as buying another building, buy another building. If it's as simple as starting another business and hiring employees, start another business and hire employees. You can have someone else manage each of those ventures for you, and you could be your own Shark Tank if you really think about it. And that leads us kind of into the last two. The risk management aspect of it is, if I'm worried about living too long, then an annuity might be an option for you. Annuities are not tied to the stock market in the traditional sense. There are some variable annuities and different things out there now, but a traditional annuity is just this idea that you put in a certain amount of money and a certain date, I'm going to give you a check every single month, every single week, every single year, however you set it up, for the rest of your life. And then you have the ability to design an annuity where it takes care of you and your spouse. So it gives a check for both of your lives. You also have the option of getting a pension from an employer. If you have a job, and there's not many of them, but if you have a job that offers a pension, that is an annuity by another name. An annuity and a pension, they're basically the same thing. You're going to get a check for the rest of your life, and then you can plan off of that. The Social Security system, that's a pension. It's the same thing, right? They're going to give you a check the rest of your life, and then you kind of operate off of that. The amount of money that you get in your pension depends on how long you worked and how much money you had. I've had clients that were police officers and state troopers, and it was based off of the last 5 years that they worked. And so they worked a lot of overtime to make sure that the last 5 years had a very high income. We've had clients in the military, the same deal. You get the highest rank that you can get, you get the most money that you get, and then your pension is designed off of that. And then some of them, it's not really that way, where they've worked it where they're like, okay, I see what everybody's doing, so we don't care about the last 5 years, we care about the last 10 years, or we average your entire career, where they're trying to make sure that people don't get too much, right? What I mean, you work there your whole life, I totally get it. But right, that's what they would say. They say make sure people don't get, inappropriate amount, right? It's supposed to be a percentage of your salary, and you're kind of fudging the numbers if you work up all those extra hours. But in my mind, you're working, right? At the end of the day, whatever the number they give you, again, that's the winning philosophy. They tell you what it takes to get the number, and then you're like, all right, cool, I'll do that. What, you want to work an extra 15 hours a week for the next 5 years, and then I get paid X amount more for the rest of my life? Yeah, sign me up for that. I think that if, again, the system is designed a certain way, and if you figure out the way the system works, and that is something that's doable for you, your kids are grown, and you're just kind of chilling at the house, and you're like, you know what, I can do this, then I would say do it. But they are, just to give you a heads up, they are trying to adjust that because they don't like it as much. But that's a complete different conversation for a completely different day. So some of you, if you're worried about the stock market, if you're worried about outliving your money, if you're just worried about having some sort of diversification, then an annuity, you can also see cash value life insurance, where there's a cash value that accumulates on the side, and then you can access that. That's generally not tied to the stock market as well. And so if there's a down market, then you wouldn't have to take the money out and take the loss in a down market. You could shift to an annuity or cash value life insurance if you're worried about that. Normally there's like 3 buckets that most people will do. And then again, I think I've already linked it, but I'll link it again as far as some withdrawal strategies where we go through that. And the last thing that you'd want to consider having in your retirement is what we call alternative assets. Now, we've already talked about some of them. Between the annuity and the cash value and the alternative assets, those are usually going to be things that once you've already taken care of the traditional approaches of retirement accounts, then you can say, okay, let's splurge a little bit. Let's try some stuff out. Let's risk some stuff. I'm someone who feels if you want to say, you know what, Dre, I really like cryptocurrency. And I'll be like, okay, that's cool. We're not going to invest in cryptocurrency for the sake of retirement. But if you want to say, 5% of my money, I just want to pick some amazing stocks. I want to pick the next trending thing. I feel really good about the metaverse, Dre. I'd be like, cool, take that 5%. So instead of you going golfing, we'll invest that 5% in the metaverse. Instead of you going on the cruise, we'll invest that 5% in whatever the next big thing that you heard was. But we're not going to put 10, 20, 30% of your investment in something so risky. As a fiduciary, that's just something that would actually get me in lots of trouble, but I truly just don't even agree with it. My wealth philosophy is not a get-rich-quick philosophy. It is a consistent, disciplined approach, gets you the results that you want over time, and that you're going to live anyways. 5 years are going to go by anyways. 5 years, 10 years, they're going to go by anyways. So why not put a plan and a habit in place that gets you where you want to be in that amount of time? Right? No more of these New Year's resolutions where it's a 1-year plan. Give me a 5-year plan for your New Year's resolution. Then we can talk. I don't want to hear about 1-year plans anymore. Put a 5-year plan together, and then each year has some steps that you'll take. And I promise you, the likelihood of you achieving your goal is significantly higher. The problem with finding ways to get rich quick is you often get taken advantage of, because the people who offer the get rich quick schemes, they know for anyone to call them that person is desperate. They are opening themselves up to be taken advantage of. I've had friends where they were like, look, oh, Dre, I got this call and it was a modeling agency, and they told me all I got to do is pay like $1,000 to them, and they're going to get me on TV. They're going to get my kid on TV, and things are going to be great. It's going to happen tomorrow. And then I'll Google it, and I'll read about it, and I'll send them an article, and I'll be like, hey, this is a scam. You and I both know to get on TV that those people, it's not an overnight thing. And that if someone tells you it's an overnight thing, then they're probably going to take advantage of you. I knew another person that was told, hey, come here. I knew another person that was out of work and they were just looking for work. They were in a rough spot. And they were told, hey, if you come to this one meeting, we're going to pay you, I don't know, $500 a day, like some crazy number. And, the person went there, they got on the bus, and then they drove them like 3 hours away. And they said, hey, you have to do, this sort of canvassing or something. And, here's all the fine print about how you actually make that $500 a day. And they wouldn't bring them back until the end of the day. And you find that when people are offering you these things, that they know the only reason you would take advantage of it is you're unhappy in life, that you feel like something has to change or it's going to be all over. And you have to take the step back, be wise in your approach, and say, you know what, I didn't get in this situation overnight, and I'm not going to get out of this situation overnight. And that's okay. Right. The beauty of living and learning is not the money that we're getting. It's who we have to become to get the money. And if you skip the transformation to get the money, then the money's not going to last very long anyways. So in recap, what type of retirement accounts that you should have? The first place I always start is, can we get some of this tax-free money with a Roth account? The second place is, can I get some of this free money with the match in my 401k or my 403b or my other pre-tax accounts? The third place is I usually will start investing in just my brokerage account where I have after-tax assets being invested, because I need to make sure that all of my money isn't going to be taxed as ordinary income when I retire, because I don't know what the tax rate will be in the future, but I do know that they're historically low right now. And then the fourth place is you do the risk management, and that may be an annuity, it may be a whole life insurance policy, it may just be having money in a CD and at your local credit union. You just need money that isn't going to have the market risk, where you don't have to take the money out during the downturn in the stock market where you're locking in your losses. And then the very last type of accounts I would have would be considered alternative investments, alternative assets. That could be gold or a business. It could be cryptocurrency or Bitcoin. I mean, it could be real estate. It's just what it sounds like. It's your alternative investments. And those are usually the last two are going to be things that you jump on at the very end. You're not going to start with these accounts. If you like the video, I ask you to like and subscribe. And feel free to check out other Wisdometric videos if you're looking for ways to eradicate financial stress, generate passive income, and build a prosperous retirement strategy.